this video, we will discuss why you might be quietly sabotaging your future wealth and how small decisions in your 20s can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. You're not bad with money. You're not reckless. You're not doomed. But if you're in your 20s or early 30s and still feel behind, there's a reason. And it's not what TikTok or Instagram told you. For almost 10 years, I quietly made 5 decisions that harmed my future wealth. And when I ran the numbers recently, the long-term cost could exceed $750,000. The crazy part? None of those mistakes felt like mistakes at the time. They felt smart. Let me explain what actually happened. The first mistake was believing slow wealth building was pointless. Between 21 and 26, I thought real money only came from big wins, startups, IPOs, crypto-style explosions, business exits. I grew up around Silicon Valley culture. I saw people join companies early and suddenly become wealthy after an acquisition or IPO. Facebook going public in 2012 was a huge moment. Stories like that shaped my thinking. Question for you. Have you ever felt like slow growth is just too boring and instant success is the only way? I believed there were only 2 paths: join the next big company early or build something massive yourself. What I completely ignored was the boring path: index funds, consistent investing, compounding. At the time, average market returns of 8 to 10% sounded small. I didn't understand what that meant over decades. Here's the part most people miss. Time is far more powerful than luck or brilliance. According to historical S&P 500 returns tracked by Morningstar and Fidelity, consistent investing beats chasing one-time gains. If I had invested just $500 per month from age 21 to 26, that would have been roughly $31,000 invested. Left alone in a broad S&P 500 index fund, earning around 8% annually, that amount could grow to roughly $750,000 or more by retirement. Doing nothing is not neutral. It has a cost. Waiting is a decision. The second mistake was inherited. I grew up in a household where cash felt safe. My father preferred keeping large amounts in checking, around $35,000 at times. His reasoning? Cash protects you. He grew up in poverty during unstable times. When he finally earned money, he held onto it tightly. I adopted the same mindset without realizing it. Curious, do you ever wonder if your money habits come from your parents rather than your own choices? I kept excess cash, avoided investing, associated markets with danger. But studying historical data from the Federal Reserve and Standard & Poor's changed my mind. Since 1926, the U.S. stock market has averaged roughly 8 to 10% annual returns before inflation. Source: S&P Dow Jones Indices. Meanwhile, inflation has averaged around 2.5 to 3% per year. U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. So holding too much cash long-term does not protect wealth. It slowly erodes it. Inflation quietly reduces purchasing power. In roughly 24 years, money can lose about half its buying power at 3%. So while I felt safe holding cash, I was accepting a different risk: the risk of stagnation. The third mistake was lack of intention. At 26, I had saved around $55,000 to $60,000. My emergency fund only required about $12,000, leaving over $40,000, sitting without direction. It wasn't assigned to a house down payment, not allocated for a business, not invested with a plan. It was just there. Money without a job does nothing. Think about this. Are you leaving money idle because you don't know exactly what to do with it? Eventually, I created structure. Emergency fund, protected. Checking buffer, limited. Everything else, investment capital. I didn't execute perfectly at first, invested in chunks, randomly, no system, but even imperfect action was better than doing nothing. Rule: every dollar needs a purpose. If it doesn't have a short-term goal within a few years, it should likely be invested or placed in a high-yield savings account. The fourth factor was environment. In my early 20s, none of my friends talked about investing. We talked about games, weekends, daily life. Investing wasn't normal. Later, in financial services, everything changed. Colleagues discussed portfolios daily. Market news was routine. Rebalancing strategies were normal conversation. Ask yourself, who are the 5 people you spend most time with, and what do their financial habits say about you? Exposure changes behavior. Surround yourself with people focused on growth. Growth becomes natural. If no one around you talks about wealth, find communities that do. Environment sets expectations. The final mistake was misunderstanding risk. I graduated near the financial crisis. Market crashes were fresh in memory. I feared losing money in the stock market. What I failed to consider was inflation risk and opportunity cost. If your money earns nothing for 10 years while inflation averages 3%, purchasing power declines steadily. Avoiding volatility does not eliminate risk. It just changes the type of risk. Short-term volatility is visible. Long-term erosion is silent. Over decades, historically diversified investing has rewarded patience. Source: Morningstar, S&P data. Curious. Are you avoiding small losses today at the expense of massive missed gains over decades? Bigger long-term risk is often inaction. If any of this sounds familiar, that is normal. These are common behaviors, but common does not mean harmless. 10 years passes quickly, and small financial decisions compound, positive or negative. Take this away. Start earlier than feels comfortable, keep only necessary cash reserves, give every dollar direction, upgrade your financial environment, and understand risk correctly. Your future wealth depends more on consistency than big wins. If this helped you see your money differently, subscribe for more practical conversations about wealth building. Like this video so others can learn from these lessons sooner. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.